Here's the thing about working people. We don't complain that the work is hard. We just want a square deal. And we're not getting one. We want the promise of America back. That's what we want. And that's why I'm running.
Looks good. All right. Folks, we're back. It's the Foolish Optimist podcast. I'm Amy McDonald, your host. I am so grateful that you are here. And I hope wherever you are following us or listening to us, you'll give us a follow. If you're feeling magnanimous, you can rate and review it. And our guest today is very, very special. I'm very excited to have her here. Today, we have Hallie Shoffner running for the U.S. Senate in the great state of Arkansas. Hallie is a sixth-generation I always mess that word up, Arkansan farmer. Arkansan farmer, a working mom, a founder, a CEO, and an expert in food systems and supply chains with a master's in public service. Hallie is running for the United States Senate to represent Arkansas because she believes in Arkansas and will lead with the vision to make it healthy and prosperous. You can follow her online on socials at HallieShoffner on pretty much any social media handle you can think of, including LinkedIn. And her website is HallieShoffner.com. Hallie, how are you?
I am great. And just to say, fan of the pod, fan of your Instagram and the history lessons that I get from you. Appreciate those. I am also a history fan and a reader. So
literally, I was like, how can I possibly make reading my job? And I was like, well, if I tell other people about what I'm reading, maybe I can make this work. So that's how we got there.
Gosh, and you should see my nightstand. I have just this pile of books that now that I'm running for office, I know I am not to get to read. So thank God for Audible when I'm in the car. So I can
It's
actually
great. Audible's great. There's also, I think you can, oh no, right now I'm listening to a book. So I know you can. You can get them on Libby at the library too.
I do a lot of
really
that.
Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know. I literally am like, all my books in Libby are like, they all come up at the same time. And then I have to read all of them in 19 days. And it's really upsetting.
And I jump around too. Like I don't consistently read any one thing. I'm like, I'm going to get in bed tonight and I'm going to fall asleep to this book. And then the next night I'm falling asleep to something else. So
I can't do that because I get so entrenched into the book that I'm like, oh, it's now 3 a.m. And I'm going to look very tired tomorrow. But yeah, reading's like my favorite thing in the world. So I'm grateful you're here. I love to hear that you're listening to books. That's always good. We like people who want to be elected who read, it's really nice. So tell me, in your own words, why are you running in 2026?
like you said in the intro, I'm a sixth-generation farmer. I grew up on the same land that my parents farmed. My family has been living and farming in a town called Shoffner, Arkansas for 150 years. And that sounds very impressive. There are 10 of us. We're all related. It's great. I grew up farming soybeans, corn, rice, cotton, wheat. I spent thousands of hours as a kid. I think I worked nearly every day on the farm from about the age of 10. It was a little bit of a unique situation. My dad, the fifth generation, had the very good luck to marry my mother, who is an agricultural research scientist. She has a master of plant physiology from UC Davis. She's originally from Florida. And my parents met in a soybean field while she was doing in-field soybean research. She was actually the first woman to run her own soybean research program in the South, like ever.
It's like a match made on a farm. Like that's
right.
Really cute. Yeah.
Right. So I grew up, we were a commercial farm kind of in the traditional sense. We'd grow soybeans and rice and take them to the big granaries. But my mom would contract with the university and do plot trials. And so growing up, I think I really learned both kind of the art and the science of farming. Mm-hmm. Went off to college. I went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville. I came home. I did get a Master of Public Service from the Clinton School in Little Rock. I went back to the farm 9 years ago. My mom called and said, your dad's showing signs of dementia. He can't farm anymore. Want you to come home. I did. It was wonderful. I fell right back into step with her until she retired. Came out of retirement once when I had my son. I had the very bad timing of having my son right in the middle of soybean harvest. She came out of retirement for like 2 months. And, I think throughout my life, the thread has been values that my parents have taught me, which is that, you earn your place on this earth through hard work and service to your community. And so even as coming back to the farm, running our family farm of soybeans and rice, I really became an advocate for climate action, regenerative farming, environmental conservation, lobbied Senator Bozeman's office. He's our other senator.
Yeah.
Regarding the farm bill, specifically the environmental conservation titles. So I worked really hard and I served my community. I did what my parents taught me to do. And then this year we had to make the heartbreaking decision to close. And it wasn't because we didn't work hard or play by the rules. It was simply because it did not matter what we did or what crops we planted. Financially, it wasn't enough. And I remember the day that I had to make the decision. I had made 6 different spreadsheets, the fields that I had, the crops I thought I could grow, how much I could make. Not a single scenario was profitable. Farmers in Arkansas knew before a seed was put in the ground that we wouldn't be making any money.
Yeah.
And I called my mom and I said, I just can't guarantee that if we go another year, we might not be in a hole so deep that you lose whatever the little land that you have or your house or your 401k.
You're like, everything. Yeah.
Everything. And because that's what farming is. You put it all on the line every year. And about 15% of the farms in Arkansas closed the way we did, made the voluntary decision to shut down. Right now, the farm crisis, this unprofitability has deepened so that we're probably going to lose a third to about half of all the farms in Arkansas by this time next year.
Yeah.
And I was mad. I was mad about it. And it's not just farmers in the state of Arkansas who are doing the hard work. We're playing by the rules. We're contributing to our communities and we're not making it. And it's because our economy is rigged against real people. It's rigged in favor of big corporations and politicians like Tom Cotton. And so in my anger, in my indignation, I said, you know what, I'm going to run for office. And we launched in July. It's been incredible. We've had a wonderful 6 months, a ton of grassroots movement. We're closing in on $1 million raised. The average dollar donation is $50, which I'm so proud of. We have thousands and thousands of donors, not just in Arkansas. We have donations from all 50 states, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the Armed Forces of Europe. So we are ready. Like, Arkansas is ready for change.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
so excited about it. We're going to reclaim Arkansas for real people again.
That's amazing. Before we started recording, you and I were talking about being classically millennial, and our generation is feeling the brunt. Younger Gen Xers and millennials they're really feeling the brunt of the economy's like shift towards, I don't even want to call it like corporatism, because it's I've been calling it like the modern day spoils system. That's how it feels to me personally.
I love what you say about corporate sponsorships instead of corporate donations. I'm like, yeah, that's about right.
I'm rebranding it. I'm like, I want people in their blazers on the floor of Congress looking like NASCAR drivers, like just patches everywhere. I think that's awesome. $50 on average is amazing.
I know. I'm really proud of how grassroots we are. I think that is the campaign of the future. That is the campaign of today. I love what you said. And you're right about millennials, especially millennial women, taking the brunt of what's happening right now. Because, I mean, I know so many women, 44% of Arkansas households are considered in poverty, which is an extremely high percentage. And really the burden of poverty falls a lot on women. And it's because these women between the ages of about 30 and 60, we're caring for our young kids. We're working. We're making sure our kids get to the doctor. And because we are pushed so far into poverty because we live in a rigged economy, we're struggling to buy food and afford healthcare because the cost of everything is rising. At the same time, Medicaid is being cut. And Medicare and Social Security are being stretched. So our aging parents are now struggling. And maybe they're getting kicked out of their assisted living because Medicaid's being cut, or maybe we're having to move them in with us. And now we're caring for small children, our aging parents. We're paying for all this, and money is being leached backwards. And what do we know? Income gets you by, but wealth gets you ahead. we're not building wealth anymore. And
Because
that,
nobody has money to scrape together. I mean, people are literally like, well, why aren't you investing in the stock market? And
yeah,
you're expecting me to have leftover change.
yeah. And I get it. I have a 7-year-old who's in first grade. I have a dad who has dementia. I am partly his caregiver along with my mom. And they're on a fixed income because they have Social Security. It's just the burden is falling so heavily on women. And I think that this is the election in which millennial women, Gen X women will stand up and say, nope, we have absolutely had enough of this. We are obviously going to have to get elected to office and go fix it, as we generally do.
In true like millennial fashion, it's fine. I'll fucking do it. If no one else is going to do it, I'll fix it. I want to circle back to one thing. I'm laughing about that, but this is a very serious matter. You're 44% of our Arkansans who are considered to be at or under the poverty level. We're talking about the economy that's changed towards corporatism and towards our corporations, but our poverty level, along with our minimum wage, that's a different conversation, but the poverty line hasn't changed much. They're still saying, I don't even know what it is. The last I checked, it was like $40,000 to $50,000 or something.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
I don't know a single household that can get by even on $80,000 this year.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, so the 44% is actually grossly underreporting.
Yeah. I sat down with a group of folks to talk specifically about Alice household. So Alice is asset limited, income, and employed. So the working poor, right?
Yeah.
44% of Arkansas families are considered the working poor. Set aside the fact that that should not be a thing.
Right.
There should not be a thing as the working poor, right? The promise of America is you work hard, you play by the rules, you succeed. That simply isn't true anymore. We want that promise of America. But setting that aside, that means that Arkansas is one of the poorest, one of the sickest, and now we know we are quite literally the hungriest state in the country. We're the single most food insecure state in the nation. And given all of these, these quality of life metrics having gone down, our senator, Tom Cotton, voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill, which guts SNAP. It guts Medicaid. It undermines Social Security and Medicare for the hungriest, one of the sickest, one of the poorest states in the country. And
I don't know.
Yeah, and he gets on Fox News and he's, oh, well, we got to spend billions of dollars bombing a speedboat that's 1,000 miles of open ocean away from Florida. Instead of the fact that we actually have an addiction crisis in Arkansas that we're not even addressing, partly because we're cutting Medicaid, which services many of these families who have addiction.
Yeah.
Hashtag priorities, right?
I'm grateful you took some time to connect all of these dots, right? Because I think a lot of people are forgetting that when we cut Social Security, the older folks might get removed from their assisted living, which means assisted living places are going to shut down, which means more people are going to be unemployed, which means families are going to be on a tighter budget because hopefully if your parent or grandparent gets thrown out of their assisted living place, you're not a heartless ghoul and you take them into your house, So like all of this intertwines and puts more and more pressure onto the next generations. And that's the other thing I'm trying to rebrand. People keep saying SNAP's a handout, Medicaid's a handout. I'm trying to rebrand it as investments. It's investments in the American people. And when people are like, I don't care about feeding kids, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're un-American.
Right.
You don't care about the future.
Right. And as all of this burden is being placed primarily on the women of Arkansas, we are also going through perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause. Things that are not studied in our healthcare system. At the same time, our healthcare is being actively undermined.
Yeah.
Pregnant women in the state of Arkansas are being forced to be in a situation where they might have to bleed out in an ER parking lot instead of being able to get life-saving surgery. And it just completely baffles me that, well, it doesn't really baffle me. I truly believe that Senator Tom Cotton, I just truly believe that he hates women, that he hates seniors, that he looks down from his high horse in DC. He looks down on the people of Arkansas who need help. He doesn't think that the Arkansans who need the help are worthy of basic food and medical care. I truly believe that he thinks
it's so fucking bleak.
I think he thinks that seniors should just keep working until they drop dead, that they don't deserve to retire in dignity, age and dignity, like my parents.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Government information shouldn't require a scavenger hunt. Luckily for us, Civic Politics is a free app that shows you all of your elected officials, city, state, federal, all in one place. Download it now on the App Store or in Google Play Store and have the information you need in the palm of your hand. I was going to say, we talk a little bit about millennials, but, for a lot of boomers, the last 20 years have been absolute shit, right? We have a mortgage crisis. We have COVID. We have all of these things. And people are wondering why the boomers aren't retiring. And I'm like, well, it's because their retirements were decimated by poor policy decisions that led them to lose their homes. I saw a video with one guy who was 88 and still working, and it was because he worked for General Motors. And when they went bankrupt and they took everyone's pensions, and when they got the bailout, they didn't pay the non-union workers' pensions back. And I'm like, we can't fault these people for that. That's really unfair. And the system, again, it's there's a theme. The economy is rigged, and you nailed it right up front.
Yeah, and people are tired of it. We are not going to be fooled by Tom Cotton's blathering on Fox News or any national media he can get his hands on about anything other than the economy. Of course, he does that because, again, every single quality of life metric has gone down since he's been in office for 15 years. So we can't run on the economy. Now,
he's been a senator for 10 years and then was he in the House for...
Yeah,
I thought he was... For some reason, I thought in my mind he was 2015.
Yeah, 2 terms, and then he was in the House before that. Now, one thing I really hammer him on is the fact that the 2 times the Farm Bill came up for him to vote on it, he voted against it, and he was the only member of Arkansas's delegation to do that. Here, and as
How embarrassing. I'm just isn't he embarrassed? Maybe that's why he stays in D.C., because hopefully if he comes home, some people might throw a tomato at him or something.
I don't think he has any shame. Or I don't know. I can't quite figure it out. I think either maybe because he's never had to work for anything and he's never actually bothered to come home and even keep a home here or visit the people of Arkansas or work for the people of Arkansas. Maybe he's just sort of sitting back thinking, I'm just going to breeze right through this. Well, let me tell you something, Tom Cotton. You knew you'd get a Democratic opponent. You were not counting on a farmer from Newport who is closing in on $1 million raised in the state of Arkansas. So
that's fucking right.
The reason that I hit home so much about the fact that he voted against the Farm Bill, and the reason, obviously I am a farmer. It's a big part of who I am. I didn't know that I would be doing this right now. I saw it when I rang in 2025. I was like, I'm going to put in my 10th season as primary operator of my farm. That did not work out. So here we are. When I tell people I am fighting for farmers, I'm really fighting for the state of Arkansas because agriculture is our biggest industry. It's about $20 to $25 billion a year. For comparison, manufacturing is $15 billion, so a little bit farther behind.
Yeah.
About half of that $20 billion is directly from farmers. That's the product that we sell. I'm from the Delta region. I'm from the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River Delta. We grow rice and soybeans. If half of our farm, one farm closing, my farm closing breaks a small economic supply chain.
Right.
People lose customers. An ag vendor loses a customer. A mechanic does. Our local utility cooperative, our accountant, our attorney, our lender, they all lose a customer. Mm-hmm. I had to lay off people. They in turn had to move away to find a job. They took their young children out of the schools in our rural community. There's this trickle-down effect. But when 1 in every 2 farms close, that's a total system failure. That rural economy goes from struggling to non-viable.
Right.
Now the ag vendors are closing. The mechanics are closing. These businesses are closing. The schools are now losing their funding because they're losing kids. The medical clinics and the hospitals don't have patients anymore, and they're already struggling to begin with because of the One Big Beautiful. I am trying to tell people that I know that it's hard to have a relationship with farming because there are just so few farmers, and we have no relationship with where our food comes from. But it affects everybody because when a rural bank closes or struggles, the bigger banks in our capital city will weaken. They'll stop giving out small business credit. or mortgages to people who they feel are riskier, which generally is younger
Right.
people, smaller businesses. Again, you have this consolidation of wealth into the people who already have wealth.
Right.
The economy of Arkansas is going to look really different in about 6 months.
I was about to say rapidly. It's going to
Yeah.
change like almost overnight, and people aren't even really registering it because, like you said, I do want to highlight the part of us in the United States specifically not having a relationship with where our food comes from. I think that's huge because we
Yeah.
just think it shows up in our grocery stores. We forget
To
about
be
the truck
fair,
drivers.
right, right,
And
right. To be fair, and I have been working on this for the last 6 years. So about 6 years ago, I got involved in a project where, so for context, 300 million crop acres in the United States. Only 5% of those acres is devoted to fruits and vegetables and specialty crops that we eat. The rest, soybeans, corn, hay, things that feed animals.
Mhm.
Arkansas has 5 million crop acres. 3 million of those are devoted to soybeans. We don't eat soybeans, animals do. And Chinese animals do, except for not anymore because China's not
Right,
buying our
right, right,
soybeans.
right, right.
So
Yeah.
we have a crop that's just piling up on the ground now, not being sold. That's partly why farmers are going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
My vision for the last 6 years is, what if we grew food? What if we grew
Yeah.
food in Arkansas? We have the best farmers. We have good dirt.
Right.
We're in the frickin' Mississippi River Delta. We have plenty of water. It would not be that big of a stretch for farmers to be able to grow something else if we leverage the power of the federal government to de-risk market building, to
Mm-hmm.
de-risk the research that we need into new varietals. It's one thing to grow something in California. It's a completely different thing to grow something in Arkansas, different disease pressure, different climate. We have to do that research. My vision is to make the largest investment in food security into the Arkansas, Mississippi Delta region that's ever been made. And it's not just about farmers. It is about how do we feed people in one of the poorest regions of our country, but not just the people in this region. Arkansas, we have enough resources to feed the entire nation. Hell, we could open up global markets and feed the entire world.
I was about to say, I'm from North Carolina originally. I was like, at least the entirety of the Southeast. Like, it's one of the last people I interviewed was from Iowa, and so we talked a lot about soybean and
Right?
corn and things like
Mhm.
that. And I'm chronically East Coast, like Charlotte, North Carolina, DC, New York. So my relationship with farms not that big, and I just can't comprehend why. Right? I know there's an ethanol component to it. I know there's some other things, but like, why are we choosing to not feed our own people when we have the space? I mean, America's huge. We could find. You already said it. The space is
Yep.
there.
Space is there. The acres are there. The water is there. It's just about a shift in the way that we think about farming.
Okay.
And I want to be clear. Hunger, specifically childhood hunger, 1 in 4 children in Arkansas will go to bed hungry tonight. Hunger is a policy decision that our politicians are making for us.
Yep.
They are not tackling the problem at all. And what they don't realize is they have kind of put us in this, they've built a trap for farmers in which we are so heavily subsidized to grow things that aren't food that we don't have any financial way to diversify.
Right.
We had a new farm bill, if we had a food security bill that specifically invested in infrastructure development, new equipment, processing facilities, transportation, cold storage, reefer trucks, not only is that new food that we can grow, that's also small businesses
I was about to say
that are
that's jobs. That's
in,
jobs. That's a lot
yeah,
of
on
jobs.
farm, near
Mhm.
farm, rural communities,
Yeah.
bigger tax bases for, I mean, just the benefits is a win-win-win for everybody.
Right.
And it seems like a no-brainer to me for our politicians to say, okay, we're in the middle of a crisis. Let's stop throwing money at the problem and actually fix the problem by opening up new
Right.
markets, thinking the way that we grow food in this country. But no, we're going to send $40 billion to bail out Argentinian farmers and not our own.
And so I thought that might be I know that was one of the bigger slaps in the face for farmers specifically, but I thought that would be one of the things that like a lot of the United States was like, wait a minute, hold on. Like,
We are.
And I think a lot of people are thinking that way, but I thought for some reason it might get across to some of the people that support Donald Trump about that, just because, again, it is. I think we talk about farmers in the United States kind of the way we talk about veterans, and like the way we speak about teachers.
Yes.
We want to respect them, but we don't, right? We talk about them in like flowery words, like farmers are really important. They're doing God's work, and then we don't actually put any resources into the entire system that would benefit all of us. Every single one of us would benefit from it.
And here's the thing that I said when I launched, and I truly believe this because I am a Democrat, but I'm from a rural community. I felt left behind.
Yeah.
I felt like the Democratic Party was sort of being governed by East Coast politics, and that left the heartland, the flyover country of America behind. And it's not that there aren't Democratic policies that haven't benefited farmers, but we never heard about them. Nobody ever showed up in our communities and said, we want to help you. And so I truly believe that the farm crisis that we're in right now, I think we can lay the blame at the feet of both parties, whether that's actively working against farmers or just apathy.
There are so many things right now in this exact moment in time that we can lay at the blame at the feet of both parties, right? We're talking about corporate sponsorships, and farming is not one of those things that is super sexy and is going to raise a ton of money. It's not abortion, it's not guns, it's not whatever culture war of the day. And it's the same with infrastructure. And I'm like, these two things, if we invested in these two things, we would feed America, we would create jobs, we could train people on how to, like, if we leaned a tiny bit more green infrastructure, so many jobs, like, but
Give
we have
people
those
their own,
corporate sponsors paying for things and
give
kind of
people their
holding us back.
independence.
That would be sick.
And I also will say that we live in a gerontocracy.
Yes, we do.
And I wouldn't mind it if some of the folks in the Democratic Party would maybe sit down and go spend some time with the grandchildren. I'm sure they have.
I've literally gotten to a point where I'm just like, so you hate your family. You don't want to be around them. You're like, you've been in DC for 45 years, but you're from. Nancy Pelosi is retiring. That's exciting. She's retiring because she's got a viable contender. I think that's my bet. I've been a registered Democrat my whole life. I'm further left than the Democratic Party, but still very rooted in capitalism. This podcast is named after Franklin Roosevelt. I love Franklin Roosevelt. Was he a racist prick? Yes. He was born in the 1800s. I'm sorry. But he did do a lot of really good things for America and got vilified for it for years. He was called the welfare president because he got us out of the Great Depression.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not to say that all of the policies that he didn't eventually backfire. The housing crisis, you can partially trace back to the New Deal and sort of this economic trap that we built for ourselves. I think the Farm Bill is the same way. We built an economic trap for ourselves and we just haven't been able to get out of it. Yeah. And I think part of the issue is, and you hit on it, our politicians have stayed too long. They're too far away from the problem. Tom Cotton is two terms away from the problem. Now, if he bothered to come home every once in a while, if he wasn't a freaking resident of McLean, Virginia, maybe we'll feel differently about it. But I mean, the fact is he doesn't care at all about what happens to us. But in truth, if you stay so long that you forget the people that put you there and you forget what they need and you just sort of live in your own little bubble in DC, then you're not going to get anything done for your people.
You have no idea what's even going on, right? I think about a lot of the bills that I'm looping back to Franklin Roosevelt just because this has to do with the ineptness of our Congress today. Last I checked, this was like 2021. About 1/3 of the people in Congress had been elected either in that 88 election or 92. I was searching around my birthday. So between those time periods, and it was about 1/3 between 525 people. Like you said, no new farm bills in decades, no new housing bills in decades, or really just deregulating and pulling all these things back that you're like, maybe Franklin Roosevelt's bills worked when they worked, but now it's 2025. Maybe we just need new shit. Yeah, like Maybe we need new
Yeah.
things. And like, even with Social Security, I'm like, we haven't touched it in 90 years. Like I don't know what the framework has been. I'm sure it's been rejiggered a few times, but
I don't
it's
think
never,
so.
I don't think like, I think there's been like edits, but I have no idea. So I'm like, maybe that, like, aside from the government using our funds for other stuff, it's like, maybe we just need a new plan. Like, it's been a really long time.
A New Deal.
A new deal, or like maybe it's, I don't even care if it's a new deal. I'm just thinking about bills in general. Our education system needs to change. Our farming system needs to change. Our housing system needs to change, because we're relying on bills that came out, circa the time my grandparents got married.
Yeah. Well, you can't fence time, right?
Yeah.
Things are going to change whether you like them or not. And this is another issue I have, again, with the politicians staying too long and them being mostly boomers. Nothing against boomers. My parents are boomers. Thank you to my parents for doing so much for me. But I know lots of boomers who agree with me that a little new blood would be the way to go in terms of moving this country forward.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. If you care about politics enough to listen to this podcast, you've probably felt the frustration of trying to navigate government. Who's your city council member? State, what district are you even in? It shouldn't be this hard. Luckily for us, there's Civic Politics, a free app that brings all your elected officials together in one place, from City Hall to Congress. No more hunting across dozens of outdated government websites. Just download Civic Politics on the App Store or Google Play Store and finally have your representatives in the palm of your hand. Follow @civic.app on TikTok or civic.politics on Instagram to be the first to know about the latest features.
And I go into a lot of spaces in Arkansas. I mean, I'm a farmer, so I work in I think it's a fairly independent space, because farmers are ultimately very independent. Arkansans are independent. If you take the number of registered Republicans and registered Democrats, put them together, they're dwarfed by the number of nonpartisan registered voters. And I tell everybody the same thing. Look, I am not asking you to become a Democrat or to switch parties. I am simply asking, don't you think we can do a hell of a lot better than what we're doing right now?
That's a great line. That's a really great line. I did want to touch on that, right? You do have an interesting voter makeup in Arkansas. And, your last midterm election, you hovered somewhere around 41%. And when I say your last midterm election, I do mean, let me rephrase that. Every midterm election since 2002, your voter turnout's hovered around 40 to 43% on the max side. So do you have any ideas on?
I think we're the lowest in the nation. I actually think we have the lowest voter turnout in the nation.
It picks up for presidential years. I'll say that. It gets above 50%. But this is all coming from the Independent Voter Project. If it's wrong, I'm sorry.
No, it's
up. Okay,
I was we looked at the numbers too. Yeah,
that's okay. I was like, sometimes if I can get it from the Department of State, I do. But if I can't, then I have to find other means. So what are your thought processes around getting some of those unaffiliated voters, or even getting the Democrats to the polls? What are you thinking there? What are you and your team going for?
There's sort of three things. These are things that are our strategies, but they're sort of happening organically as well, I think, because of the context of the time, right? The first is simply the fact that Arkansans are fiercely independent. I would argue we're quite stubborn, pretty hard-headed. And we're perfectly capable. I think we take pride in the fact that we are not wedded to any one party. That is not our identity. Our identity is wrapped up in our communities, our local communities, not our political affiliations. And so when I say person over party, that's going to be very true in Arkansas. I think that also goes with these national trends that we're seeing. Virginia, New Jersey, Tennessee. Tell you what, Tennessee. Mississippi, breaking the super majority. And again, this isn't a party thing. This is we want to have people who are real. We want real folks representing us, people who are, again, closer to the problem. It's not a Democrat or Republican. In fact, I think, and this is true in Arkansas, most people are tired of this rhetoric of left and right and liberal and conservative. You know what? We're real people with real problems. We are crying out for someone who believes that the purpose of government is to create opportunities and make progress, not posture around for the next election. I think that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is women. Women between the ages of 30 and 60, 65. We don't vote, not in large numbers, especially millennial women. We're not engaged in the process. And of course, we're not. We are really busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really busy. But that is changing. I'm seeing trends here on the ground. I think it's partly because I get it. I'm a working mom.
Right.
I am pushing 40. I have aging parents. I'm partly a caregiver for my dad. I'm mad about the fact that, no one's studying perimenopause, which is a totally different discussion.
Yes, I know.
With perimenopause. And that's really resonating with moms who have formerly not been engaged in the process or have felt kind of politically homeless. And then the third piece is Gen Z.
Yeah.
So I've been doing coffees across the state at different universities or in different young spaces, like at coffee shops and stuff. And boy, these kids, they're mad. And
Can you blame them?
They should be. I'd be mad too.
We're recording this the weekend of the Brown shooting, and there's at least two children, they're young adults at Brown University who have been in other shootings.
Yeah, read that.
I can't imagine. I'm mad for them. I know that they're going to bear the brunt of the economy being the way that it is with us very shortly, if they're not already. And they grew up being shot at.
They are living in a time of extreme violence, of extreme rhetoric, of our politicians being so much more extreme than the general population because of things like gerrymandering, because of things like suppressing the vote. We now have politicians who are way more extreme than we are, who refuse to live in the middle with the rest of us. They're coming out of school and they can't get good jobs. They're worried about AI. They can't afford to live in the places that they work. Yeah. Teachers in Northwest Arkansas can't afford to live in the neighborhoods their schools are in because housing is so expensive. And they're and I think more than that, there's this sense of toxicity in our nation that I think is born of this divisiveness and this gridlock and a massive amount of misinformation on social media. And one thing that I get really mad about, because I'm on social media, is the fact that so many of the nasty comments that I get are not real people.
They have to be bots, right?
They're bots. Or there are these troll farms in North Korea, China, Russia, that just have people sitting in front of computers acting like Americans, and they're not. They're not Americans. And okay, fine. You want to talk about Tom Cotton wrote a terrible book about China. He's hawking it right now on the radio. Okay, fine. You want to talk about communist China? Talk about communist China. Let's talk about the things that actually are happening. The fact that their Belt and Road Initiative has built an entire infrastructure down in Brazil based on debt diplomacy that has undercut American farmers. Let's talk about the fact that these bots and these people in these troll farms, it's espionage. It's fomenting mass misinformation, divisiveness in our culture that is not real.
Can I ask, do you have any thoughts on something like a digital Bill of Rights or like an internet Bill of Rights or something like that?
I heard one of your guests talking about this, and I don't remember which one.
It's probably Daniel Byron from Pennsylvania.
I think so. So I love this idea. Number one, because it is a national security issue.
It 100% is.
Number two, okay, let's talk about asset, right? A home is an asset. In theory, a car is an asset, although it's a depreciating one. What do we have as millennials? What do we have as millennials, as Gen Zers, that is valuable? It's our data.
Yeah.
How many makeup products have I bought on Instagram that have been marketed to me because of who I am? How many baby products? How many? Yeah. My husband, he gets served all this content about like cooking knives and I kind of feel like, right. Yeah. I kind of feel like every media buy that's made that uses my data to sell me something, I need 5% of that.
That's all I'm asking for. I want to cut. I want to cut.
And this model has been used before. So
Yeah.
I'm involved in a program called Ag Launch, and it's a startup incubator for ag tech. So I sit on or sat on, I do not currently, I sat on the selection committee for all the startups that go through this incubator. And the deal was, we're going to give you some money to help you test your products on farms. And here are the farmers in our network. They're innovative. They want to try new things. You're going to go on their farm. You're going to test your product. But oh, by the way, in exchange for their data, you give them an equity position in your company. So every product that came on my farm that used my data to make that product better, I got a stake in that company. And so when they sell, I get a check.
Yeah.
Isn't all data treated that way? My data is not free. You're making money off me. I need a cut. Can you imagine how much money young people would have if we get
just like a tiny bit,
the value of their data?
A little bit. Yeah. Well, no, I know when you were talking about China, though, I was thinking about it in terms of a national threat. And then I think about the data all the time, right? It's like constantly in the back of my mind, but there's that. And then, of course, we live in a world where we have spam phone calls. I'm in Europe right now. I have a different SIM card. I don't have a single spam phone call for the last 8 days because it's not legal here.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. But as soon as I flip to my American SIM card, it's like 180 text messages. Somehow I got on Donald Trump's list. I don't know why. I get a lot. And I'm like, stop. I'm like, I don't.
Millennial sons and daughters all over the country would be like, thank God nobody can scam my parents anymore.
That's the other thing.
Like the number of calls I field from my mom where I got 40 calls today and they're all asking about Medicare. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom, it's a scam. Don't,
Yeah. Quit picking up the phone unless you know who it is. Please.
Although my phone, I have to do so much call time and nobody picks up the phone.
I know. I'm sorry. Actually, speaking of that, this episode is going to come out on January 14th. Great. Do you have any upcoming events that people should keep an eye out for in the new year?
So, gosh, and this is Arkansas. You have to file for office in November of the previous year. So you campaign for so long.
That's a really long time. Yeah.
Yeah. What I would ask people is to go to my website, HallieShoffner.com, and sign up for our emails because we will now very soon have volunteer opportunities. We're going to start knocking doors and making phone calls, reaching out to voters.
Hell yeah. And if you guys are afraid to knock doors and make phone calls, it actually becomes really fun and you can meet really cool people volunteering on campaigns. If you're having a hard time meeting new friends as an adult, one of the best ways to meet new people that you're going to actually like is through volunteering on campaigns. I swear by that.
And we're going to have a great time. One of the things that I am very proud of is that my campaign is a lot of fun. Like I've built a team and we're having a great time. I miss farming. I mean, every day it's a lifestyle. It's something that gets into your bones. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I gotta check the weather because I don't know what's happening out there. But campaigning is fun because farming, you're rooted into one place and you can't leave.
Yeah.
Pick up the land and move it. But now I get to travel everywhere. I get to do things like I toured one of our tire plants that's unionized down in Texarkana.
Cool.
It was so cool. So first of all, these ovens that they bake these tires in are like 350 degrees. So kudos to these guys. I've worked in a rice field in 110 degrees, and that is not the same thing at all. Also, they have a lot of stuff is automated now, and like the robotic stuff is just super cool. The union men and women are some of my favorite people to hang out with because they're so close to the mechanics of America, right? These are the people that keep this country running. And my God, why do we mistreat them?
I feel like people don't understand what unions could be or what they would actually do for different industries, especially the teachers.
Well, I mean, one of the first calls I made when I decided to run for office was to the AFL-CIO and the United Steelworkers. And I'm very proud. I did just receive the endorsement of the Arkansas AFL-CIO. And we've been I know we've been talking to the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I've been to the Firefighters Union, the USW union halls all over the state.
Amazing.
These are my people, and I love talking to them.
Can I ask
And
you, is there there's a farm workers union, right?
there
That's
is
in
a
California.
farm. We do not have a union for farmers. We have associations. So like the Farm
Okay.
Bureau, our like crop association, the soybean association, the rice association. That's kind of it's a different beast.
Yeah, yeah.
I've met with the teachers union, which we mistreat our teachers. We treat our teachers so poorly, and it makes no sense because if you go into a public school and you say, how do we fix this? How do we make better lives for our children? The teachers can tell you.
Right.
Yet we don't let them organize. We don't give them good wages or benefits or a positive working environment. And we denigrate them because we're like, they get paid for a summer off. And I'm like, no, they don't.
Like, so you've never spoken to a teacher.
They don't.
So my mom has her PhD in curriculum and instruction. So she now teaches teachers, but she taught kids for years before going to get her PhD. And she was there during No Child Left Behind. And they all jokingly called it No Teacher Left Standing. And that's, 25 years or 23 years out from No Child Left Behind is exactly where we're at, right?
We have a voucher program now in Arkansas, and it's going to bankrupt us.
Really?
They were like, oh, it's only going to cost, $100 million a year of taxpayer money to people to send their kids to private schools or homeschool. Oh no, we're now at $400 million already. And we were not budgeted for that.
I was about to say, how much is that's
because so many people took advantage of the program. And then they did a study, like 85% of the people that took advantage of the program were already
in private school. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I knew that answer because that's happening in Iowa, that's happening in Tennessee, that's happening in North Carolina. Every single voucher program that exists is not helping people who need the opportunities. It's people who already are in private school. So I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No. I mean, you're absolutely right. And not only that, like these private schools are just going to double the tuition. They're like, you could afford to pay X amount a year and now you're getting money for it. So we'll just charge you another X amount per year and it'll be exactly the same as it was before.
Because there's no regulations on private schools. Either that or their principal's getting a really nice fat raise, or maybe they're getting a new gym, which is wonderful.
What our voucher
should be going to our public schools.
Yeah. Our voucher programs pay for horse riding lessons and guitar lessons and cotillion. And that's also our voucher.
Come on, guys.
We're doing the same thing for our firefighters. Yes. So our firefighters, the people that literally put their lives on the line for us every single day, they're trying to take away their pensions. They're saying, oh, you don't need a pension. We'll just put the money into a 401k and you can bet it on the market and it's not a guaranteed thing. And I'm like, literally risking their lives.
To save people.
To keep us safe. Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the industries that we need to make sure that the people who dedicate their lives to service can make it. First responders, teachers, and nurses.
Yeah.
Police officers, first responders, teachers, nurses. Those are the people that keep us alive. Those are the people that keep us healthy. Those are the people that care about us. Those are the people that care about our children. Mike, I swear to God, my teacher knows more about my son than I do because that's where he spends most of his day.
Exactly.
Wouldn't I want her to be the best that she can be because she's comfortable and has good benefits?
Doesn't have to worry about making rent, doesn't have to live with 5 roommates, all of these things. Like, I had someone look me dead in the eyes and very seriously say, well, maybe just teachers need roommates. And I was like, no, actually, they have a full-time job. Everyone that people with 10 years of experience should not have to have a roommate. I understand having a roommate, right? When you get out of college, sure, we all did it. It was fabulous. But we're talking about people with master's degrees who have to have a roommate.
We're going to take a 30-year-old with a master's degree who is dedicating their lives to teaching our children and ask them to argue with somebody about the dishes and come home and not have a safe space, their own space.
Quiet. Yeah.
There's no dignity. That's the problem. You know what? Here's the thing about working people. We don't complain that the work is hard. We just want a square deal. And we're not getting one. We want the promise of America back. That's what we want. And that's why I'm running, is because I am going to restore the promise of America, which is hard work should mean a good life again.
We've come full circle. Can you tell everyone where they can find you one more time?
Yes, I'm on all of the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Blue Sky X at Hallie Shoffner. HallieShoffner.com is my website. You can sign up for email updates, volunteer opportunities, share, engage with my socials. The more eyeballs we can get, the better, because I want people to look at the state of Arkansas and see something other than the hate that is Tom Cotton. We are more than that. We believe in the state of Arkansas.
We believe in you guys too. Okay, so we're heading into our last little segment here. We're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Well,
I have one that I always ask, but you've kind of already answered it. But what was the last book you read, cover to cover?
oh my God, cover to cover, Escaping the Housing Trap, but I can't remember who wrote it. But it was about FDR's, the New Deal, saving the housing market, and how it kind of created its own trap for us now that we're kind of having to work out of, and the solutions for that.
Amazing. I read a housing book this year too, and it was like about redlining and the HUD practicing it. And I was like,
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Are you a cat or a dog person?
Oh, both. Our 15-year-old terrier passed away about 4 weeks ago. So now we only have our 2 cats. And so now my husband's already talking about, okay, it's time to get a new dog.
It's about time. We're about ready.
Yeah.
Is there like a famous Arkansan dish that like everyone in Arkansas would know?
Yeah. So apparently, and I do not know if this is true or not, apparently we invented cheese dip, and we have the International Cheese Dip Festival every single year in Little Rock. Beyond that, we are the top rice producing state in the country. So if you eat, long grain rice in the United States, you're probably eating Arkansas grown rice.
I didn't know that about the cheese. Wisconsin might want to have a word with you, but do you have a favorite thing to do when you are overwhelmed or just feeling it, need a break?
Go outside. I mean,
true farmer.
I farm for a living. If you get tired of your office work, you go outside to the field. So now we just, go for a hike, or when we have time, we'll go camping. I mean, Arkansas is the natural state, so we're one of the most beautiful of the country.
Leads me to one of my last questions. What is your favorite thing about Arkansas?
Oh, gosh. I believe so much in Arkansas. My favorite thing about Arkansas is our potential, our unrealized potential to be, in my opinion, the healthiest and most prosperous state in the country, because we could be the entire country. We could be the specialty crop capital of the United States. That's my favorite part, is our own unrealized potential. And I refuse to say, thank God for any state doing worse than us. No more of that.
That's a perfect place to wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hallie
Shoffner, running to be the next senator. I was going to say the next Arkansan senator. I'm trying to get it right. The next Arkansan senator. There we go. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Thank you for following The Foolish Optimist. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much. We're going to be dropping new episodes every Wednesday, and you can watch the video episodes on YouTube. If you would like to, please give us a review, leave comments. You can also email us at thefoolishoptimistpodcast@gmail.com. If you see any really great candidates that I should be talking to, send them my way. Thank you.